Good morning, guys. So, one thing I'm really hoping is that everybody who watches my sorry. Everybody who watches my videos, I hope that you guys have if you're ever curious about aliens or um, just supernatural things, I'm all for it, and I have experienced a lot of that in my life. And I didn't, you know, it took me a really long time to talk about a lot of things, longer than it should, because I went through this process where I'm like, am I losing my mind? Am I just totally insane right now? And that was honestly, it was kind of rough, because different things you're experiencing, and you don't have, the only thing that you can ever think of, and the only thing that you've ever been told are certain things, that somebody's wacky, they're crazy, and so bringing these things up now is 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 really cool, because there are things out there. There's so much more out there than we know, and when we start seeking it and going out there and looking for it and being like, hey, I'm looking for you, like, I want to know what kind of other things are in the world, and they will eventually start revealing themselves to you. Not every And I'm not saying everybody, but it did happen for me. These certain things started to be revealed to me, and which is why I wanted to talk a little bit more about this trip that I had, because the first night, the first night that I had, in the Snoqualmie Mountains, and then I went over here to um, Waitsburg, and then I ended up, and then so I had to think, like, okay, so I was stranded over here in Waitsburg. Am I going to put myself through the same thing again? Go somewhere I don't have any kind of, I need to figure out how I'm going to stay on the road. Um, so, because I didn't want to go home. I wasn't ready to go home. I'm like, you know what? There are so many questions that I have. There's so many things that I want to know. There's so many things about my life that I want to leap out there and change, and just start taking these risks and start doing things that I've never done, things that I want to do, things that I longed to do, things that you know, bring that continue this passion and happiness into my life. I want to do those things. And it's not necessarily like, I know in one of my videos I was like talking about, oh, like, I want an income so I can take vacations. Like, that really wasn't it. Like, I want, gosh, this hair. I want a decent income so I can provide for my family, and I really don't think that's a whole lot to ask. But that's really what it comes down to, for my four kids, and so when I'm manifesting for my family, and that can get really frustrating, especially in the circumstances. But so anyway, I decided to continue on, even though there was a terrible night over in Waitsburg. I decided to continue on and just keep seeking answers. So so from Waitsburg, I ended up going down here to Pasco, and I found a camp, and I camped for it was like 11 o'clock at night by the time I got there, and so then I ended up going over here to let's see. So the next day I ended up going over here, and I'm gonna make these kind of short, just because just because. Um, so I ended up going over here to see, and then I stick the emoji like over the name of the city. Sprague. I went to Sprague, and Sprague is like is what it is like, the land there is like what you would see at the bottom of the ocean. Like, it was so breathtaking and incredible. I noticed that the birds were different. The birds would sit in one spot and, like, just kind of like flap their wings in one spot, which was really cool. Um, so I ended up going into a gas station and, just to get some gas. And she's like, yeah. And I noticed they had a hiring thing. And I was like, oh, I'm like, you guys are hiring. And, and I'm trying to think, like, while I'm on the road, I'm thinking, okay, how can I make some extra cash while I'm, just gas money or whatever while I'm on the road? So I had that idea in my mind. There's got to be a way that I can do that. So, I noticed that this gas station was hiring, and I said, hey, she's like, really, we just need somebody to come through and clean our bathrooms because, we don't always have time to go out there and clean them. And I'm thinking in my head, oh, okay, so next time I come through here, I can just be like, hey, do you guys need some cleaning done so I can get some extra gas money, whatever. But I don't want to settle for that. I'm not saying I'm settling for that. I'm just, I am open to the abundant life 100%. Anyway, so going to Sprague was really cool. I mean, just seeing the mountains that looked like under, like you're in the ocean. And I did decide to take like a little side road not too far. There weren't a whole lot of people on the road. It was very rarely did I see anybody. And I ended up going to the spot where I stopped. And, I was like super excited. I was like, oh my gosh, like look at this place. It's so magical. It's so cool. And, seeing new places that you've never seen before. I mean, that is an amazing feeling. And I hope everybody knows what that feeling is like. So, I stop and then I get out of my car and I climb on the hood and then I climb on the roof of the car. And I do that a lot to get a better view or to get a cool picture or to even, like, I'll even lay blankets out there and take a nap. Like during the day when I have, like, when I'm in the mountains and there's, like, a big camp, a big place and nobody's around and it's like, oh, like, how cool is it to just lay out here, feel the breeze, feel the sun, hear the birds, and really incredible. I love doing stuff like that. So anyway, so I get on the hood of my car and I'm looking around like, oh, in awe and excitement, and I notice something just kind of flapping around and I look at it and I'm like, what is that? And it looked like a shiny or like a flapping piece of paper, and it caught my attention and I was like, okay. And then I saw something right next to it, which totally was, and I'm not even kidding, a craft that was, it wasn't like super big, it was kind of small, but when I saw it, it just creeped behind this hill, like slowly, like, oh, she saw me, and like just sneaked behind this hill, and it looked like a UFO. I'm not even kidding. And I did see a UFO in the sky once before, and I've always believed in aliens. My room that I had when I was in middle school and high school, was really just alien everything. I had alien pillows and pajamas and posters and drawings, and I had this thing with aliens. And I also had an experience when I was a kid with aliens. I was sleeping, I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I was sleeping on the floor because we were really poor. I was sleeping on the floor next to a window, and the window was open, and I remember it was like it could have been in the summer, and I fell asleep, and I had a dream that something came in the window, picked me up, and lifted me into the sky. And I remember waking up the next morning and my grandma telling me that, and my grandma saying, hey, Heidi, I came in here to check on you guys last night and you weren't there. And she said, I couldn't find you. And she still remembers that day. Like, how can her and I remember that same thing? So maybe when I was a kid, I was abducted, and I don't like, everybody has their jokes about anal probes and stuff like that, so I don't know. Like, maybe there was some kind of operation, but, and maybe I really was abducted by aliens, because maybe that's why I always cared about aliens and always had a connection with them. And I'm not the kind of person to deny that they exist. And, some people are skeptical, But, I'm a believer, and I do believe that there are so many things in this world that we are connected to that we have no idea that we're connected to it. And those are the answers that I'm trying to find. So anyway, Cheney, I saw a UFO. And that night, I ended up going to a place called Williams Resort. And, went in there to ask them some questions. And I was like, hey, what's the cost for camping here? And she said, oh, well, if you don't have a tent, you just have your vehicle, you can just stay here. It's like the bunkers, and which I thought was really awesome. But there was running water. I was able to wash my hair. I was able to brush my teeth. I was able to just take everything out of the van and clean it out and refresh. That was an amazing time over there on Williams Resort. It was probably the most relaxing that I had the first 2 nights, most definitely. Also, when I went there, they had a restaurant, and I was like, hey, do you guys need any help with anything? Because here I am, like, still trying to find ways to earn extra cash on the road. I said, do you guys need any help with anything? And there's, they were like, oh, well, we'll let you know if we do. And so, I went to camp and then, did my refreshing. And then later on, one of the ladies came and said, hey, we really do need somebody to clean up some trash around here if you can do that for us. And she did give me, a payment for it and ahead of time, which I thought was, really cool. She trusted me. And of course, I did wake up early in the morning and went from the front entrance, from, the campground where everybody had their tents. I didn't pick up trash around everybody's tent because I was kind of worried people are like, oh, like it's early in the morning, who's walking around our property? But anyway, I went like everywhere, like over all the way up to the restaurant and picked up trash. And had a bag full, not a bag full, but there were some big pieces that made the bag full. But it did look really nice afterwards. It was really, nice and clean. And so I did find out that there are some ways that you can make a little extra cash on the road, but it is important that you plan ahead because you can't go to every single campsite, drive to every single campsite and be like, hey, it's better to call and plan those things. Like if you want some extra cash, you can just say, hey, like I'm coming through town. Do you have any work, temporary work? So of course that's something that I'm going to integrate into my travels. But hopefully I won't. Hopefully this law of attraction abundant thing will start working for me, regardless of my past, regardless of these past thoughts and the family history and how I didn't really, our family wasn't really spiritual at all. Like we were just, so this whole spiritual thing that I'm going through is completely brand new. And the only people that have really been able to answer my questions are the people on YouTube, which is why here I am communicating back with you guys in my own way and my own experience, which I hope you guys are enjoying. And I do have another awesome story for you guys about alien, something that has to do with alien crop circles. And that is actually pretty amazing. But I will save that for next time since I am running out of time. You guys take care, and thanks for watching my videos. I'll see you later. Bye.